one has to adjust the mic when one is vertically challenged. All right. So, brilliant opening session by Charul, and I was making notes. And, you know, she's set the stage so well for what I'm going to be speaking about. She spoke so well about what we call as social conditioning and how women have been conditioned to think in a certain manner for the longest time. Since I'm going to be speaking with you for about 15 odd minutes, I will try my best to stretch it to 20 minutes without looking at Alok, but it's only fair that you know a little bit about me. So if you could move to the next slide, whoever is handling the slides. You know, I have been an HR professional for about 2+ decades. I started my career on the other side. I was working with companies like Vodafone, Pepsi. I was heading HR for Philips in 2012, and then I got bored. And I said, I need more variety. So I started Marching Sheep in 2013. And for the past 10 years, 10+ years, I've been having a whale of a time. So we started our journey with working in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space. And you know what? When I went knocking on doors of different organizations, saying, let's do a session on DEI. Can somebody tell me what is the response I got? Anyone? Anyone? Any guesses? We don't need it. What else? Yes, ma'am. It's not required. Okay? 1 घंटे का प्रो बोनो सेशन कर दीजिए. Are you all okay with Hindi, English? No Hindi? English only? Okay, so they asked me, please do a 1-hour session, free of cost. And I asked them, great, I'll do it. But hundreds and thousands of years of social conditioning and patriarchal thinking, what is 1 hour of session going to do about it? And when I reflect back, when I started my career in 2001, how many of you would have started your careers way back then? Can you raise your hands? Do you even recall diversity, equity, and inclusion being a part of HR strategy? Forget about it being a part of business strategy. No, right? Do you even recall what existed before Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act came in? How many of us now know what existed before Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act came in? Vishakha guidelines. But even the best of organizations, the best of multinational companies that today have awards all over the place on social media, were not making their employees aware about Vishakha guidelines, the principles of which are still a part of POSH. So we were pretty much left to our own till 2013. Agreed? All right. So in 2013, that is how our journey began. Today, we are, of course, working across all dimensions of diversity. So whether it is LGBTQ inclusion, whether it is people with disabilities, and globally, we are delivering across 80+ countries. We also work on races and ethnicities, multi-generational workforce. We also work in the area of OD consulting. We work in the area of talent management and bespoke learning interventions. So what started as a one-woman army, today we are spread across the world, and it's been the most gratifying journey because honestly, you know what, when I was on the other side, I had no clue how to sell myself or sell my services. So it's a huge learning experience. So this is where we are today, right? I want you all to watch this very interesting video clip before we move forward, and then we'll discuss some more.
So this life has given everyone a present, beautiful, shiny and new. Everyone but you. Golden ribbons, diamonds line everyone's path that leads to wide open doors. Everyone's but yours. Wide open doors. Hold on, keep on, even when the road seems very long. Open your eyes, even if it's cold now. There's one thing you should know. Rain will turn into snow.
All right. Now that feels much better. I was feeling extremely constrained in that corner. Okay, so what did we see here? Any insights from this video clip?
Then inclusivity at the end, when they found a way of, addressing the problem.
Absolutely. And was that a sustainable solution?
Well, I don't know how long whatever they stuck on him will last, but for now, it looks as if it is a solution that can be, overcome the problem that he had.
Absolutely. And asking him, the hedgehog, to change, would that have been a sustainable solution?
Oh,
No.
I think so.
And what do we do when we hire talent and we say we want different talent, we want new blood in the organization, we want people with diverse mindsets, and then we say, please adjust to our culture because this is how we are. Do you think this is sustainable? Will this drive innovation? Will this drive agility? Will this drive growth mindset? So when we look at diversity and inclusion, it's very, very important when we talk about sustainable growth. Today, 52% of our population is comprising of Generation Z and Generation Y. By 2025, it would be 75%. What I was talking about is that when we try and get in talent, and then we say, oh, it's so difficult to work with these Gen Zs, and Gen Zs say it is so difficult to work with these Gen Xs, and then when we say that we are not able to get women to work in sales function, or we are not able to get women to work in operations, we are not able to get women to work in infrastructure sites. What are we doing here? Are we trying to drive diversity and inclusion in a sustainable manner? Can we change the fact that women will have children? What would happen, and this is a question to all my male audience, if your wives came up to you one day and said that, listen, I don't want to have children because it will impact my increments, it will impact my promotions. Would you be okay with it? All my male audience here? No? So when we have female team members and they come back after a maternity leave and we say, you were not there for 6 months, the rest of the team had to pull your weight, so how can we give you a good rating? How can we consider you for a promotion? How can we give you a good assignment? Aren't we penalizing them for doing something which is a natural life stage? So is this sustainable? And then saying, let us not hire women. 48.5% of India's population is women. Are we saying that we want to keep 48.5% of India's talent outside of the workforce? Or we only want to keep them if they do not get married, they do not have children, they do not have endometriosis, so no painful periods? Just a few questions. Sorry if they're bothering you. So that's why we say, everyone, diversity is a fact. Even if we look in this wonderful room, we are all here because we want to listen to a common cause. So I can bucket you all in one common bucket, one bucket. But each one of you is different. You come from different places, there are different genders, there are different thought processes, there are different work experiences, there are different life stages, there are different traditions. So each one of you is unique. Diversity is a fact. But do we make the choice and act, and do we put those thermocol things on each hedgehog and make it sustainably inclusive is an act which we have to make every day so that our teams are inclusive and we can drive inclusion. The fact is that very often we only look at the tip of the iceberg. We only look at a person from a gender lens. Sonica is a woman. Charul here is a woman. Alok here is a man. But there is so much more to each one of us. Our educational background, our ambitions, our thought processes. Charul asked, she said that when there is something which happens in school, who gets called? I can tell you that at my place, my husband gets called. Because 15 to 20 days a month I'm traveling. I am never there. So it is up to us to break this cycle. We have to be the cycle breakers. If we want to continue to perpetuate it and say, I want to be, my number has to be in that list, then we will never break the cycle. But can I stand up and say, if I am not there, then your number better be there and you better pick up the call? When you were an active and enthusiastic participant in creating the baby, you might as well be equally enthusiastic and active in bringing up the baby. Do you all agree? So, actively break the cycle. If we don't break it now, 20 years from now, there will be another Charul, another Sonica, speaking to our daughters and sons exactly on the same topic. There will be another book and another topic. Let me bring this to actual brass tacks. It's very easy to give what we say in Hindi gyan, right? But how do we do it? How many of you here work in organizations? So you would want to know, how do we get this done, right? Before I do this, I want to show you another model. And this is a proprietary model of marching sheep. You know, somebody asked me the other day, you know, inclusion of women is passé. We've been working on it for so long. I'm sure the diversity narrative has moved on. Do you agree on it? Do you think we have achieved our goals as far as diversity goals or representation goals of women in workplace is concerned? We have not, right? So for Pareto organizations, representation of women continues to be a challenge. When I speak to many of my clients, they come back and say that, you know what, Sonica, while we have women, let's say, in customer service, or we have women in IT, or we have women in HR or finance, but as we go up the ranks, the numbers dwindle. What happens? Okay? It is easy to have women in corporate office, but not in branches. What happens? So that is one problem. So there are still a very large number of organizations that are still what they call at a very nascent stage of their diversity journey. So when you look at an organization, one size does not fit all, and therefore there is something known as a DEI maturity level. Are you at the compliance stage? Are you at the tactical stage? Are you at the integration stage? And it is very important as leaders, as members of the DEI Council, as members who are trying to drive sustainability in the organization, to really understand where you stand. Ask yourself the tough questions. Then within the same organization, your employees would be at different levels of sensitization. You might have people who are possibly working in remote areas. They come from remote areas and they have a very, very different worldview of what should diversity and inclusion look like, or whether they even need diversity and inclusion. And there might be some people who say that, yes, we need diverse teams and we are completely okay to work with diverse teams, and their definition of diverse teams might be different as well. Yesterday, I was speaking to somebody. This gentleman is going to be our moderator for one of the conferences I'm going to attend next week. And he said, Sonica, you are a DEI consultant, so I'm going to ask you a question on people who are transgender. Can you just lightly touch upon it so that people don't get uncomfortable? And I said, why would people get uncomfortable? LGBTQ discussion today is something which is happening very openly on social media, and we should not be skirting around it. We should be taking it head on. Right? So it really depends on where our employees is. So when we try and map, we get a 4x5 matrix. So one size does not fit all. We have International Women's Day coming in. Please do not go blindly and say, oh, let's have a panel discussion. Let's call an external speaker. Let's have XYZ kind of a topic for the Women's Day celebration. Don't spray and pray. Let's go in with a targeted intervention. Please first arrive at which box do you lie in. Because when you first do that diagnostic and then you decide, this is what I need to do, then you hit the nail right on the head. Once you have started your interventions in the right direction, looking at where you stand, then it's very important to track your success. It's like a destination, right? I came from Delhi, I have to go to Bombay, and I'm tracking. You know, I can't reach Nagpur. I can't reach Calcutta. My conference is here. So it's very important that I track and course correct. I am constantly looking at metrics that matter. Who are the employees that needed to be sensitized? Where do I need to move? Do I need to move from compliance to tactical, from tactical to integrated? Are we making that move? What are the metrics that I wanted to look at? What is the enabling framework that I need to put in place, and have I moved the needle on that? I wanted to share a case study, but if there is no time, I will just leave you with this, everyone. Inclusion starts with I. I think people here have that influence, that network. Just start with whatever you can do. Drive change in the mindsets of people that you work with, whether at work or at home. Even if each one of us starts doing that, I'm sure over a period of time we will live in a better world. So that's it from me. Thank you so much.